going on? It's Kevin Kenny. This is the Build Series live from New York City, and we're going to be joined on stage by a group who has a brand new album coming out Friday entitled People. They're also kicking off a tour this week with stops at Madison Square Garden and the Staples Center out in LA. Please let's give a round of applause to Hillsong UNITED. There was a bit of a delay there on the applause, but only because you were nice enough to bring along a live performance video that we were watching and enjoying here in studio, and it's so calming, so relaxing. Is that the vibe at the show?
It was at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was very somber. Thanks for watching through it's a long song. It was an epic. It goes forever, so I appreciate that. But yeah, no, look, the night, that's one song of plenty that we did that night. Most of them we were doing for the first time, and which are on this recording, or people are hearing them for the second time. And but there's a whole range there. That one just seems to be a very long, epic, somber one.
Where did that video that we were showing? Can we actually just roll back the video if we still have it? But where was this?
It was recorded actually Sydney, Australia, in our church.
Oh, wow.
Which for us was really cool because we've done a lot of stuff all over the place. And so with this project, which I don't know which number it is for us, but we thought we wanted to go back and kind of do it where we started. So this is kind of where we started out 20 years ago, a church in Sydney, Australia, writing songs. And then the journey's kind of gone from there. So this was a bit of a homecoming of sorts.
Oh, that's so special.
Yeah.
Speaking of Sydney, you're going off on this big tour here stateside. I'm curious to ask you guys, how do shows in America differ than from other places around the world?
The people in the audience are usually Americans.
You know what?
That would be the number one difference. But we've always felt like when we've come here that it's kind of been like family, and we've always felt like we've been welcomed. And we are very lucky we get to travel all around the world, and we love coming to the States because it's always loud, it's always rowdy, and we have a fun time.
Yeah. And then just speaking of tours, like what are you looking forward to most about this tour? How is this tour you're going to kick off later this week? How is this tour different than the past tours?
Well, it remains to be seen because we haven't gone on tour yet, but we're hoping. Look, we're hoping there's different people there, even that. I mean, it's going to be great because, one thing for me is I like the idea of kind of playing to the same people over and over and again, for sure. That's amazing. And doing Journey with people, and there's people now who were kind of kids when we first started doing this, and now they're coming and they're bringing their kids.
Their
That's how
own
long we've
kids,
been doing
yeah.
it for. So there's that side of it, which is kind of not depressing, kind of awesome. But the other part of it is, there's always new people who, especially because, the songs are there to carry a message of hope and faith that we, are passionate about, that we think is the best news there is. And so we want to be bringing that in a way that is meaningful to people, and especially people for the first time. So we'd like to hope that, this tour, there's a whole lot of people who are coming who might, in some way be in need of a little encouragement.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything special or like any surprises maybe that you can kind of tease right now? So the fans are very excited. I think we're 2 days out from tour.
Yeah.
Right, it's going to kick off is it Austin, Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, well, we didn't tour our last record either. So there's a whole lot of new songs that we've never actually got the chance to tour. So this is, it's been 3 years, I think, since we toured the States.
Oh, wow.
New York, it's the first time we've been in New York, I think in about 8 or 9 years. So last time we played it was in the Hammerstein Ballroom. This time we're at, MSG. So that's going to be
a little bit different.
Super exciting. Yeah, no, but we've been planning it. Like we put everything we can into this. You understand that these moments, they're precious. We don't ever want to take any of them for granted. So every night, we want to be bringing a unique experience for people. So,
yeah. And if you're watching just around the world and you're not from New York City, that's Hammerstein Ballroom is a great venue. Madison Square Garden, a bit bigger of a room. So congratulations on that, guys. That's moving in the right direction. Tour 2 days away. Are there any pre-tour rituals or pre-show rituals you can kind of let us in on?
I would say I'm a girl, so picking out an outfit, I thought let's pick the brightest one. Just bring it a bit of I thought I'd match the sun outside in New York. And then definitely we had a week of rehearsals back home in Sydney, Australia. The band got back together, and it was awesome. And getting to see little things, special things that we can't say what's going to happen on tour. But just putting all the little bits and pieces together.
Yeah.
It can feel like you're traveling around on these buses for, like, when we're in the States, we travel on buses, and there's, like, I don't know how many we got this time, but there's a few of them. And so we'll wake up in the venue. So we don't see the sun sometimes for a few days. So we get off the bus, and for us, like, I don't know, it might be working out or whatever, but always find some sort of a routine you fall into, and then the night kind of just appears out of nowhere. So it's just like, it becomes Groundhog Day.
We've all bought
sometimes.
golf clubs. I've never don't even play golf. So this time we've bought golf clubs and we've got like rubber balls. So we're planning on playing a bit of golf.
Dylan,
Are you really?
Maybe
You're picking
playing
up
some
golf?
real golf. Well, I don't know. It's
I don't know if they're
That's
going to
what
let
you
him
do
on the
these
courses, like
Yeah.
this scruffy
No,
beard.
I've got a button up, I've got a collared shirt and everything. Yeah, who knows? We'll see. But yeah, the idea, I mean, JD is probably the most disciplined out of all of us. That's JD on the end there. And he also keeps us entertained most of the time. So if there's any ritual, it's mainly just let JD take center stage and we'll follow.
JD, would you attest that you're the most disciplined out of everybody?
No, I wish I was, but I try. I was really, we knew this tour has been coming up for a long time, and so I thought I wanted to be in physical peak fitness for this tour. Problem is, I only started yesterday, so I've left my run a little bit too late, but, I'll get there.
It's funny you bring up, JD, like the physical nature of touring. It's something I think fans don't think about, but it is physically grueling, both just singing and then also just performing and being on the road for that long. Do you guys do anything special physically to prepare yourselves, or is it more of a mental game?
I feel like the older I get, I need to stretch more. So I think
Yeah.
tour, I'll be stretching on the daily. So
Totally.
Giving it away how long we've been doing this for, but
Yeah.
no, we eat really healthy until about 11 p.m. and then we just cave and then
Yeah.
start again the next day. That's pretty much the routine.
Yeah.
There's a stat here I wanted to cite, so I wrote it down. It's because it's absolutely incredible. It's if you think about Hillsong, really, it's become synonymous with an entire, genre of Christian music, and it's estimated. This is amazing. Over 50 million people sing songs from your catalog every single week. I'm just curious, when you think about that, it's hard to even imagine that numbers, that many people. But is there a heightened sense of responsibility, knowing how influential your music is?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think it's something we've felt for a long time, especially because, you're putting, when we write these songs, you're putting words into the mouths of people, and I think there's a power to confession for anybody. So when, music has this incredible ability that very few things on earth do, to really kind of push beyond all the kind of layers that we can put up as human beings, all of our defense mechanisms, and kind of, there's a quote, it just simply says, music has the ability to enter the soul without permission. And it's true. Music can change an atmosphere. You can be singing a song, you don't know why it makes you feel a certain way. And so there's a responsibility, I think, with that, with the beauty that comes from it, but the opportunity there is for us is to be able to kind of give people a song to sing in whatever season of life they're going through. And it matters what that's saying. You don't want to be framing people's thinking in a way that's incorrect, even like for us theologically, obviously. You don't want people getting ideas of God that aren't in line with who God really is or who we believe him to be. And so that's something I think, I spend forever in these songs, in the lyrics, making sure that what we're saying is honest, that it's not BS, and that it's something that is going to help people,
Totally. This is a huge question, but what do you guys think it is about music? I think about this a lot just as a music lover, that does allow it to, as you said, and I love that quote, enter the soul without permission. Is there any
I don't know. I think
theories,
you
or-
kind of touched on it. It's just, we all grew up loving music, and I think most people have some kind of a connection to some sort of music, some sort of style or genre. For me, it was just, I don't know, it could be attached to memories or whatever, but maybe it's like where you are at that time, what you're going through, just something about a melody or a piece of music that just kind of comes out of nowhere, or a friend shows you a song that's really kind of done something in their life, and I don't know what it is. It's such a strange thing.
But every culture is defined one way or another, usually by a song, and it goes all the way back through history. Even before there was the written word and there was the print press, people told stories generationally through songs because they're easy to remember. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I was reminded, like in Australia, the Aboriginal community, they would have songs that would show them when they're out on walkabout where to find water, and the song would literally tell entire generations of kids where they could find water as they're getting from one place to another, things like that. So songs matter, stories matter. But the real power of a song to me, I love sport, and Liverpool Football Club is my team, the soccer team, for what it's worth, anyone out there who cares. But they every single game, the whole crowd sing this song called "You'll Never Walk Alone." It's an old classic, and they sing it at the start, and walk on with hope in your heart. There's all these grown men crying, and I'm like, what is it that does this? Yeah, they're about a team. Yeah, they care about these guys kicking a bunch, a ball around a field. But at the end of the game, like win, lose or draw, even like when everybody's super upset because, they've lost, the crowd still sing this song and they sing it again. And it's like this uplifting, this solidarity in it. It's unifying. There's like, hey, we're in this for the long haul. And I think there's so much power in that. Essentially, I think that's what we've always endeavored to do why I believe that God created music as a gift for the human condition, because it unlocks stuff in us that we live in a world where we're just constantly trying to make sense of everything. And there's a whole lot of stuff that you can't reconcile in your mind that's going on in the world around and about us. And I think that's where art comes in. That's where beauty it has an ability to define truth where you can't find truth. And beauty has art has the ability to define what is good, when you can't figure out what's good and what's evil, and so these kind of things I think have always been gifts. They've always been gifts for the church, the Renaissance, like you look at Notre Dame and you see this cathedral, it's the architecture, the beauty was written in the architecture, the windows, the whole thing, the story of that building. And I think, in this day and age it looks, it'd be nice if we could build those kind of buildings, but for us, like we try and create that atmosphere in Madison Square Garden for a night, where there's this, we're bringing the best that we can of the tools, whether it's lighting and whatever, and creating an experience that's beautiful for people to hopefully unlock something deeper for them personally.
You guys inspire so many people through everything you just said. I'm curious what inspires you guys individually, and I'll start at the end here with JD, and if you guys want to just work down the line.
I think everything in life, I really get inspired by people. I love just, and I get inspired by why people would create something. I think about we're talking about music, and there'd often be a song that would come on the radio I'd listen to, and personally my first reaction is, why on earth did anyone create this song? Why did someone put money to, go out producing this kind of song? And then I try and listen to figure out why, even though it might be different to my taste or what I think. And I think that's a perspective that we all can have in life and try and find the beauty in everything and everyone. And so I just love watching people and just looking everywhere I can for it.
Yeah, I think for me it'd be similar. It'd be people, people who like really give their life to what they love. And for me, like when I started out songwriting, there's Red Hot Chili Peppers, the guitarist, and I could be wrong on this story, but this is the story I heard. John Frusciante just loved the Chili Peppers, loved guitar, and all he wanted to do was play guitar for the Chili Peppers. So he just devoted his life to it, and just every day, that's what he did. Wake up, play guitar, go to bed. And so for me, I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And again, I don't know if that's the story, but that's what I heard. So for me, I could be wrong. But for me, it was like, that's what I'm going to do when I was younger. I'm just going to write. And so, in between school or whatever I had going on, if I had a spare moment, I'd be writing in my bedroom. I'd have a little 8-track, whatever it was. So for me, I was inspired by people that have these stories. And I think that's throughout history. Look at these people who have these ridiculous stories of these feats they've done or things they've overcome. It's just because they've given absolutely everything to it. So
Mine would be God, because we believe that He created everything, and so for me, actually walking out and looking up at the sky, and I love seeing like the pastel colors, like when the sun's going down or when it's rising, and for me, it reminds me that I'm actually just a small part of the major masterpiece that's going on, and then I would also say people as well, stories, and I would say words, because I'm a budding songwriter, I'll say. Like, I'm just starting out on the journey. But I love, when you read something that just, exactly what Joel was saying, like unlock something within you, I would say that that's inspiring, and it causes you to go exactly what JD was saying again, like, why would somebody write that? And puts you in their shoes. And I think stories also humanizes things, people, situations. And if we just take a moment to listen and try and understand, then I don't know. I think that's quite inspiring. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Look, to me, I think there's like a dissatisfaction that is, I think it's healthy, if you want to embrace it, because you get frustrated at just things and this desire to want to kind of hopefully make something better, I lived here in New York for 10 years and only just recently moved to California, but like I used to walk these streets, used to live on Mercer right there. Okay. And so just walking here today, and this city inspires me so much. And so does anywhere. But like you walk around, you just see this kind of beautiful concoction of humanity, and everyone's going somewhere, and everyone's come from somewhere. And what do they love? Like, what do they care about? Why are they here? Like, what are they dreaming about? What are they thinking about? What are they doubting? What are they fearing? Yeah. That, to me, that human story is universal, because we all experience those things in one way or another, and it's true for everybody. And so there's songs, I believe, that can just kind of, we can live completely different lives, have different experiences in so many different ways. But there's stuff there that if you touch on it the right way, everybody can relate to. And I'm like, where is that? What is that?
Do you guys think about legacy? Like, what would you want your legacy to be 20 years from now?
He had a great beard. And I think for, we've always, someone believed in us when we were young people. And I'm so grateful for that, because the environment I grew up in, I went to a school, and, there's all the pressures there. I was full of insecurities. But there were people around me who were older than me who encouraged me and saw stuff in me that I never saw. And I would say the same would probably be true for all of us. That's one of the reasons I think we're here, because I never saw this. Like, I didn't dream this way, and somebody, we never would have believed it. And somebody else saw that in us. And I think, I'm at a place in my life where, you go through a questioning moment. Even that song we just heard, that song is about doubting yourself. It's about losing confidence. That sense of, I'm trying everything, I still feel like I'm screwing everything up. And in the midst of it, there's something that basically the love of God is so good. It doesn't depend on whether we rise or fall, if we are awesome at something or if we're a complete mess up. His love is still there along the way. And so it's like there's confidence in that. I can rest assured in that. So that thing for me of, losing my confidence and going, I'm just going to do this anyway, unapologetically, if this is who I am. That was a real story for me. And it's led me on this side of it, really, to come out and go, I want to dedicate my life to wanting to be that person I wish I had when I was younger. And that's given me so much purpose for what we're doing now. So I hope the legacy is that there's a whole bunch of people who go much further than we ever do in life, who in some way we were able to inspire along the way or help. Yeah.
Which, funny enough, leads to my next question. That title of the new album that's out everywhere Friday, People. I'm guessing this is where it comes from. The inspirations we've talked about, the purpose that you found with people you influence and inspire. Can you speak on the title of the record?
Yeah, look, I think because it was we did a live record, and we're about to go on tour. It's kind of pointless if it's not about people, right? So like, who are you going to play to at Madison Square Garden if there's no one there? It's so simple. But I think sometimes, even especially in like the church can get all tied up on religion, about what we believe about this, about what's right, what's wrong, all the dogmas and the laws and all this kind of stuff, and forget that ultimately this thing is about people. Right. And so I think it's just a reminder, and I think it's a powerful one. And what I believe about the message of Jesus is the story of God is not a God who kind of created humanity and then just kind of left it to unravel. It's the story of a God who loved humanity enough to essentially become human in the person of Jesus and embody the suffering, embody the pain, embody all of that, and ultimately to die for it. And to me, that human aspect of God, the idea that the God who created the cosmos and the fabric of our humanity, our DNA, would then embody it, to me is something that sometimes gets lost. And I pray that, these songs, they're human songs, We're singing about a God who we believe is, all powerful and all the rest of it. But we're talking about a God who also, pooed their pants and, had to, depended on a nipple, Truthfully, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Any way you look at it. But why wouldn't God do that if the story is true, and I believe it is, because he cared about humanity, he cared about us, and so he's a God we can relate to because he related to us.
Yeah. A question just for your biggest fans watching right now. This is the rollout of this album was a little bit different. You released, I believe, 4 songs ahead of it, right? If I have the numbers right. Well, why that approach?
I think last time, I mean, every time we've kind of released a record, it's kind of been different. Because we recorded this live, and sometimes it can be a long, so it was recorded. It was basically, okay, let's like clean it up, put it together. That was in November of last year, and we wanted to just kind of basically get the story rolling and roll it into this tour, and hopefully the experience on this record that people are going to get in full on Friday, and they've got in part. Friday night we're playing in Austin, Texas, so the album comes out, and so we're going to be singing these songs. So part of it was to kind of get people up to speed, but to bring people on this journey and go, this is what, I don't know. That's just, who knows? No, if anyone's got a great idea about how to release a record, I feel like every idea is a good idea. That sounds good. Like release a track a week, whatever.
Yeah.
Drop it, surprise it,
Totally.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
That's what we do. That's what we did this time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Guys. We're going to turn it over to the audience right now. We've got a couple great questions, and the first is going to come from over here.
Hi. I was curious, every time you go on tour, what's been your favorite city or country to travel to?
Oh.
Go.
My favorite was Barcelona.
Barcelona.
But you have to say it Barcelona. And I think I was doing the first song that night. And so I checked with these guys and like, you need to say like, hello, like welcome Barcelona. And I was like, I am not saying that because I know you guys are pulling my leg. But then turns out it's real. So I said, welcome Barcelona. But I love it because it's a country that's full of beautiful culture. Everyone, gathers around a meal. And, we would finish a worship night around like 10:30 or 11. And you go outside and everyone's just on the sidewalks hanging out, like families are having a meal together. It was beautiful. So, yeah.
Awesome.
That was really lovely.
Cool.
I think South America's always been really cool for us. And we spent some time in Central America last year. It was the only place we went to last year. We were in Honduras, we were in El Salvador, Guatemala, and it was wild. And everything about it, and so full of life. It was really encouraging. So that was super fun. And I think we've kind of traveled everywhere. We've done nights around Africa, from Rwanda to I spent plenty of time in Asia. The Philippines is always crazy for some reason. So it's been really cool. And then you kind of come to America, and it's a bit more, we answered the question at the beginning, but I think what's beautiful about America is even our nights. There's so many cultures represented. It doesn't, all look the same. And obviously, if you go to Lubbock, Texas, usually the place is going to look like Lubbock, Texas. But if we play in New York City, you want that night to look like New York City in all its diversity. So, that's what's cool about here. So I do love touring America for that reason, because significant.
Definitely. Any favorite places, Matt, JD?
I don't know if this really comes into the category of where we've gone and kind of performed or whatever it is that we do, but I think we went to Israel and recorded some of these songs in a way where it was really off the cuff, the whole thing. And so we just wake up and we're like, okay, today we're going to go here and record these songs. And we didn't really have structures to the song. We just knew okay, we have an acoustic guitar, we've got, I don't know, kazoo, we got whatever we got. And we just made the most of it. But it was just something about that whole trip that was just even the stories of the songs, we're writing songs about what was said in this place in Israel or whatever, I don't know. But it was just bringing songs to life in a way where it was actually we were so tired as well, because we were playing from all around the world to get there. And we just gave everything we had to it. And so it was super fun. It was just for me, it was just a time where it was just different. So it was just really cool. It was creative, and we had a lot of fun. It felt like we were just a family, just really hanging out. So.
Oh, I bet. Cool. JD?
Yeah, it's so hard to pick, but I think even just thinking as we're talking about the places that we've got to travel, I think that's the coolest thing for us is that I would just love going to different places, and our goal is to always try and get to places we've never been before. But what keeps it fresh for us is, we come to the States and I love that, and then we'll go to Asia and I love that, just because the difference in culture. But probably the thing that we've experienced that blows us away is that the nights always start out at a different pace or a different response, but we always land at the same place where everyone comes together and sings in the same way, and it's a wild ride.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Let's get to the final question. It'll come from behind me.
Hi, we actually have an online question for you. And they were just wondering, is there any moment you can think back to that made you realize you wanted to be a musician?
John Frusciante.
John
Is that right?
Frusciante. For me, I just grew up with I had my grandpa, I don't know why he had drumsticks, he wasn't a drummer, but he had these old brown drumsticks, and my dad had guitars and we had a piano, so I just grew up around instruments, and these drumsticks, I just loved hitting them on things. I'd set up pots and pans, I'd be smacking the ground with them. I think I've still got them somewhere, but for me it was just I don't know, it did something in me as a 4-year-old that made me want to kind of chase after music, waking up in the mornings, watching John Farnham on whatever it was. There's always music playing in my house. It was just, that always inspired me, and then I just naturally fell into it.
Cool. Right on.
For me, I think I've just been singing since I was 3 years old, and my mum said I just never stopped. Whether that's good or bad, I'm not sure. And because my parents didn't have the opportunity to study music, so they really, I wouldn't say forced, but definitely heavily encouraged us to play the piano and pick up a second instrument. So I just clearly remember my mum had said whenever I was frustrated or angry or just wasn't getting something, I would go to the piano and I would play, and it would just, I think, soothe my soul and my spirit. And she just said you would be calm and then you would leave the piano in a much better state than when you went there. And so I feel like music has always done that, something on the inside. And I remember early on when I was going to go study, hopefully medicine at university, that was the goal. I hadn't got the marks yet, so I'm not saying anything. And I had a friend that just looked at me and just said, hey, if you don't do music, something on the inside's going to die. And I remember holding that conversation, heavily in my hand when I was making the decision to move to Sydney to pursue music, whatever that meant, instead of going to university. And I'm so glad that I moved to Sydney and just joined a local church, and then, so, yeah.
Well, yeah, in a nutshell, for me, I actually never really thought I'd be doing this, and didn't really grow up musical, but was always just passionate about it. I grew up in church and just had the most phenomenal experience, and so my heart was always just to help make church awesome, and I didn't really care what that looked like. I was happy to be a Sunday school teacher, to be honest. It didn't bother me. I just wanted to create that environment for other people to be able to experience what I got to experience. Was a place where I came and felt loved and accepted. I felt like there was nowhere else on earth that I felt that, and so I was always up for helping out, whether it was setting up chairs or not, and just kind of growing up with these guys. I ended up got a microphone in my hand, and very reluctantly, but so grateful. The journey's been wild, and I absolutely love it.
I can't imagine, yeah. Was there a moment, Joel?
Probably Vanilla Ice was, I was like, man, that guy seems cool. Truthfully, just a cool story for what it's worth. I was just thinking about this because the year 2000, and I was in a band. The band was called Able. Matt was in a separate band that was called
Tenfold.
Better band. From a different, so a bunch of guys. My mates were actually from the church I was a part of, and the band that he was on was a bunch of kids from the church he was apart from. And there was this band competition in Australia, Channel V, which was kind of like the music before we didn't have MTV at the time, but Channel V was kind of the big music station. And so it was every single band in Australia went for it. It was kind of before American Idol and Australian Idol, but it was 3,600 artists. And when it came down to it, the two bands that won were the band I was in and the band that Matt was in. But you guys got the popular vote.
No, we got the viewers' choice.
Yeah, you got the people's choice, and we got the
want,
critics'
right?
choice. The irony of it was, in that band, Matt played drums and I played bass guitar. And I think I laugh back at it now because I think in that night we had all these big dreams, but never in our wildest dreams would we have imagined that we'd end up kind of writing songs together for the rest of our lives and standing on stage. We're the ones singing because neither of us sung back then at all. So it's just it's interesting.
Quite the journey, as we've said.
So it just unfolded.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to get at. Is there's something to sometimes I feel like what we're a part of is certainly bigger than the sum of our parts. And I have to believe that God was kind of linking all these things together because He saw something that we couldn't. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, it all leads to Friday, and the new record "People" is out and available everywhere. And then where can we go online to pick up tour tickets?
Probably hillsongunited.com.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. I was looking for the website.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, well, guys, thanks so much. It was really nice meeting you, and thanks for taking the time today here in New York City.
Thanks,
guys, one more time for Kevon. Hillsong United, everybody.